Welcome back. We got another round here. This is based on a few people giving us awesome feedback on our past few videos and a big insight we had this past week. But first, Jess stopped her juice fast. She still makes us juice every day. It's really awesome, but she's still here. She made it. Pretty impressed. 30 days?
30 days.
Wow. You gotta want it to do that. Again, I did 3 days and that was a bit much.
It's actually super simple. Let me explain it.
Well, you can go in depth into that in another video.
It's gonna take one sentence. It's matter over mind.
Yeah, write that one down. So, we're going to get into this today. I had a really cool conversation with Jess on, I don't know, it was 4 days ago or something. And we were talking about this. We were talking about how in the past, and she'll explain this fully, but we were talking about how she used to bring me a meal or like food or something.
I still do that.
And she does. But it was how she used to look at it and now how she's looking differently at the same thing. Because when I'm working on my laptop or on a phone call or whatever, and I'm in the zone, that's like a very specific, thing. And so, Jess, you want to talk a little bit about how you went from a certain point of view to another point of view and how it relates to the video?
Yes. At first, when I would deliver him some food, I'd want him to take a break from working and to look at me and to look at the food and say, thank you, and this looks so good, and take a bite and say, oh, it tastes so good too? Did you use a different spice? And now, I literally put the tray of food outside the door, take a picture of it and say, food delivered. Let me tell you why. Disrupting him while he's in the zone and working is the opposite of what is necessary for us to fulfill not only what we've agreed with each other to do, but also the impact that we want to create with the world. And so I see it as satisfying to set it outside the door, knowing he's going to be able to stay concentrated and in the zone inside the office. And I will, later in the evening when we recap the day, he'll let me know if the food stood out to him or not. And it really doesn't matter if he does or not, because I know I did my part to help assist him in living out the principles that we've agreed upon and the impact that we want to create by feeding him so he didn't have to think about the food, and that he's able to do his part because he's able to stay in the zone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is something that I had never experienced before, is being able to be in that zone and to have a partner who is looking out for me and able to take care of me in different ways where I can do it for myself, but okay, any guys out there or women in general, and you're running a business, you have to look at the fact that every single day you're going to be forced to make a decision of what am I going to eat, at what time, is it going to be delivered, do I have to make it, okay, and it's like you spend an hour just looking at something as simple as what am I going to do for lunch or then dinner, and so you're wasting time and your resources to do that. So what Jess and I have agreed to is that she just handles the food. She knows what I like, what I don't like, and she's already like a master wizard in the kitchen, or where the female version of wizard is. And so she makes all this food and she's like doing her thing, and then I just have awesome food delivered to the door. But that also, now I take responsibility for other aspects of our relationship. So it's a symbiotic relationship. So instead of each of us out on our own, making our own food, doing our own thing, it's like, no, she dominates that. And then I dominate my parts of the business. And that allows us to actually build and do even more than, we could have ever done if we were, dividing that amongst ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Mitch, how does this correlate to somebody out there who's in a relationship and they're wondering, is there a future with the person they're with?
Yeah, that's a really that's a very, very real it's and if you're even willing to ask that, I applaud you for it, because it's scary to look at, right? A fear of loss is our biggest fear as humans. And so we fear to lose people that we've come close to, even if it's just a temporary boyfriend or girlfriend you're just getting to know. It's like you want it to work out. So you also, though, want that to be on firm foundation. So what do I say if someone wanted to ask that question? Is this person the one for me, right? Is there a future with us? Well, one, you got to get real honest about where it's been already. Because it's so easy to have those rose-colored glasses and think that, oh, they're going to change, or, oh, if they just read this thing or they do this thing, like, it'll change, right? But it's probably not going to unless you both have a relationship agreement. So you both agree to certain things, like, hey, I agree to better myself. I agree to have tough conversations, like, you know, whatever those important things are for you. And if you haven't seen our videos on the relationship agreements, we have a YouTube playlist. So I would say that for sure. And then you also should really look at for yourself, what does your future look like? Because if you're not clear on that, it's going to be really hard to be clear on having a future with your partner. Because if you don't even know where you're going to be in 5 years, at least a rough outline. Obviously, no one has a crystal ball, right? No one's psychic. But you can see roughly, hey, I'm shooting for here. And then, ideally, you're able to have that conversation with your partner. You need to be able to have that conversation. Even if let's say you want to be own a massive business. Your partner doesn't need to be involved in that business, but they at least need to know that's your plan. You know, or if your vision of growing old and retiring is like, I don't know, moving to Arizona or something and going golfing, you should have that conversation with your partner because maybe that's not their vision. And those conversations can actually unfold into something even greater. So to know if there's that future, think it through, be honest with yourself, and then have that conversation with them. And that'll really help open this up for yourself. What about you, Jess?
So say you both are like, yeah, we want to have this business and we want it to be, you know, fruitful and impactful, and we've got all these ideas for it, and we want to create a life where we don't have to think about finances, and we've got a really nice home, and we're able to provide for our children, and we want children, and this is the country we want to live in. Like, all of that is in alignment, right? Guess what? That's still not enough. Yeah, because if you just say that, and then you go every day and you're watching what they do and how they go about their day, and they're not visibly living that out moment by moment, then you're not actually creating what you've agreed upon doing and how you've agreed upon living your life. If the other person is just feeding off of you, off of your energy, like, oh my gosh, it feels so good to be by you, like during lunch, I like to have lunch right next to you and to talk about how my morning is gone, and I'm going to talk to you about what I'm going to do in the evening, and I want to hear about your morning, and I want to hear about what you're going to do, and I want to spend 5 minutes just looking at you because you're so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Okay. Especially if you're trying to grow a large business, you may not have time to do lunch together at all. Maybe on Saturday, okay? Like, you really have to first be clear on what you guys are wanting to do and if that's in alignment. Yes, that's first step. But second, are you living that out day by day? And that's being able to redefine it's instantly gratifying for you. See, I used to find it instantly gratifying for him to, you know, gratify me, saying like, oh, thank you for lunch, no. And now I see that doesn't even make any sense. If we're truly living out what we want to do and the things we've agreed upon, then he needs to stay focused and he needs to be working really hard. And so now I'm finding it instantly gratifying to not disrupt him and to not get any of his attention when I'm delivering food, because I know that he's living out what we've agreed upon. And so that's the second element, so I agree, yeah, you need to be in alignment, but then you need to be living that out daily. And if you guys are not proving to each other that you're creating what you've agreed upon, you need to evaluate your relationship. You need to be honest with each other, and you need to have that conversation and be upfront and be very, very honest with them. Like, hey, this is what we've agreed upon creating or doing or whatever, and I don't see you actually doing that, or I don't know if my actions are leading towards that in the future. Because you guys can brainstorm together instead of just sitting there and moping around and feeling sorry for yourself. Like, you got to figure it out, and you need to be able to see them actively doing it and see what they're doing that's creating the life you've agreed upon as an act of love. Mm-hmm. You know, him working extremely hard on the business, doing 4 days of work in 1 day, every day. I see that as him showing love to me and to our future family and to the humanity as a whole, because I understand and see the impact that we're creating within that. And so I can see that that is an act of love in itself. Mm-hmm. Not me needing in that moment him to tell me thank you for making this food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a lot right there. Also, though, I do find time to say thank you for the food.
Of course.
You know, I'm not just like this robot who just works all day long, has no emotion, nothing like that. But it's like we've grown to understand what that looks like, to share appreciation, have mm-hmm. time together. Because like usually at the end of the night, we'll go on a walk together and just like chat about our day, just chat about life. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we'll listen to a podcast or listen to some music or something. But you know, we know that that's the time where, you know, we can really spend with each other. Mm-hmm. So that helps a lot. You have to figure what that out is for you, because we're in a certain stage of life, as are you. Also, when you're having that conversation, those tough conversations with your partner,
which you should be having regularly.
Yeah, don't go attacking. You can say things like, help me see how you're living this out, because I don't see it, mm-hmm. you know, but I'm not attacking you. I really want to understand that, you know, and then you can work to like build little small goals. Mm-hmm. You know, don't try and do some big overhaul. Those never work, mm-hmm. but you can, you know, step up. So that's pretty cool. 'Cause that'll really help you have a space where you can have that conversation, mm-hmm. and that conversation will absolutely change your relationship. Yeah. Now, if it does cause a breakup, well, good, because that's what was destined to happen anyway.
Yeah.
You have to really look at that for yourself. Or if you're the kind of person who's like, it's good enough, I don't want to rock the boat, like, okay, you can do that too. You have your choice in that. But I would really encourage you, even if it's going to be tough, and maybe there's a week where it's tough and it's awkward and you aren't sure if you're going to go through, well, by the end of that week or that short time period, you're going to know, hey, we actually made it through together and we're stronger. Or, nope, it isn't for me, it isn't for us, and we're going to walk away. But then you have the rest of your life. Like, yeah. It's so worth that 1 week of time. And yes, maybe there's some heartache and the energy and emotion doesn't feel very good. But guess what? You can join us in our Facebook groups. We can be friends. You know, we can... there are other people out there to get that support from. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need to be that partner. Yeah. But if you and that partner have at least some similarity in your mindset of where you want to go, you both like each other, you get along, and you see each other making effort, like honestly you're making effort, work through it, right? Yeah. Make that happen, make that agreement, and then no back door. Mm-hmm. And you face whatever it is together. And through that process, you'll become so strong and just able to do so much more than any one of you could have done individually.
Absolutely. Yeah, and living that out with another person is the most satisfying thing you can have in this lifetime, is to be in alignment with what you're creating and actively seeing not only yourself doing it, but the other person living that out. It's better than any other love poem somebody could write you, or a song, or them snuggling you to sleep, or whatever it is. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, creating a life with another individual and actively seeing both of you participate in it is the most satisfying thing that you could have in a relationship. And honestly, I see it as the only reason to be in a relationship. Instead of all these people falling in love and feeling this way, and this is what love is, you know, because I feel this way, and all these feelings and emotions. It's like that's not what a relationship is about. I think as a society, we have lost the understanding of what a relationship is. If that's with a friend, a parent, a sibling, a significant other, whatever it is, a coworker or a boss, we have lost relationship, that point, completely. We have defined it along with reacting to each other and your associations with words and your feelings and emotions, and that's what a relationship is. If I feel good, then I'm going to keep this relationship in my life, and if I don't feel good, then I'm not going to keep this relationship in my life.
That's setting yourself up for a lot of heartache and not really making any progress. But that's what the media has taught us from day one. You ever watch Disney movies? You ever watch anything on TV? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, the feelings are so strong. Yes. But it's like, that's not realistic. You can still have those nights, and we'll go on a date and clear the calendar, and it's awesome. You still get that. Mm-hmm. But now you can actually enjoy it because you don't have to be worried about losing it. Now it's like we have a nice romantic dinner, and it's like, this is so cool because I know tomorrow this could happen again, and the next day this can happen again. It's sustainable because it's actually built on a real foundation, not some up and down energy thing.
Yeah, and that's with all relationships. And so we have friends who are in alignment with what we're building, and we are in regular communication with them, and we absolutely enjoy our phone calls with them and look forward to our phone calls with them, or look forward to them visiting or us visiting them, or whatever it may be, because we know it's not only going to be an enjoyable time together, but the other person isn't just feeding off of your emotions and feelings. You're actually going to talk about things that are relevant to what we're creating, and it's not going to be a waste of time. And you can guarantee that because you've defined what your relationship is built upon. And that can be within a coworker, a parent, a friend, your partner, all of those relationships. You can literally build them on a solid foundation so that you don't have that open loop in your mind of like, oh, is this going to feel good tomorrow? That doesn't matter if it feels good or not, because sometimes it doesn't feel good. To have a meeting and to face the things that you aren't doing within the relationship and be honest with the other person, and to actually bring that up in your self-honesty. Because, hey, I got done with this juice fast and I realized I was trying to use this juice fast to work through my points with food for me, instead of me actually working through those points of food. Because I had worked through quite a few points with food at the beginning of this juice fast. And then I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to start working through other points. And then I get off this juice fast and I'm like, whoa, Nelly, I got so much coming up. And yesterday I just had to talk to Mitch about it. I was like, Mitch, this is what's going on. And it's like a whole new wave of these points that I have to work through. But I had to be honest with myself and honest with Mitch in order to actually work through those points and get that moving. Because if I just felt bad and felt like he was going to judge me and I can't share it, it's too hard, you're never going to get anything done. And that's the point of seeing a future with someone is there a point of honesty? Can you truly share with that person, knowing that you're built upon that solid foundation? So it doesn't matter what you're going to share. Like if you think if they're going to judge you or it's really difficult for you, it doesn't matter. Like you're able to share anything because you know you're building this thing, and ultimately by sharing that thing that was hard to share, you're moving towards whatever that is that you're creating. And honestly, that is the most effective and efficient way to go about it. If there's something in the business that he's not completely clear on or isn't completely organized and there's not a system for yet, guess what? He brings it up to me. He talks to me about it because I'm a soundboard. I also have different perspectives to give because I'm a woman, and women just are wired differently. And so maybe I can look at it in a different way that he didn't see.
And think about this. So I just realized right there is so much fulfillment like I've never felt before that comes from knowing, like, let's say Jess comes to me and she's like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Like, you got 5 minutes to chat? Because that 5 minutes, I know that I'm investing with just being present. Because maybe she'll figure out the answer for herself. That's usually what happens. But it's like we're a sounding board to each other. That those 5 minutes, or maybe it's 2 hours that I invest, I know that will come back like 100-fold. Because we're both in agreement with that long-term future.
Yeah.
So now it's, because think of the alternative. You're like, oh, my girlfriend like needs my help. Okay, like in the back of your mind, you're thinking, what if this doesn't work out? What if we don't end up together? Am I wasting my time? Ugh. As opposed to now, I'm like, I know I'm not wasting my time. And even if she comes back with the same point the next day because she's still working through it, I'm like, okay, let's get through this together. And that is cool. so powerful, really. Because now it's like, it's so much more than just one individual plus one individual. There's this exponential effect that happens when you're clear within that agreement and you agree, no back door. That would be its own video in itself about no back door, because then we can get into the mind. And because if you give yourself a back door, your mind will find a way to get to that. And you'll have to walk through it eventually. So why not shut that? Be smart. Don't shut that door too soon. But once you shut the door, you make the decision. If you actually look up what the word decision means, it means to cut off. So you cut off all alternatives and you make this thing work.
So good.
So that's how to tell if you got a future with someone else. And if you have questions about that, if you're unsure, if you want to have a conversation with your partner but you don't know how to, you can reach out. We're taking people's feedback and incorporating that into future videos. But there's a lot more to come because we're still just scratching the surface. So stay tuned. And you got any final thing you want to share?
I love the messages that we're receiving. It really honestly inspires us to bring up certain topics that we may not have even seen before. And it helps support us in our relationship because these are topics then we have conversations about and we see more things that we can incorporate in our lives. So please reach out. Maybe it's something that you guys are struggling with, or maybe it's something that you've just had in the back of your mind that you haven't even thought about. You know, maybe you're not even in a relationship, but you have questions about a future relationship that you're going to be in, or it doesn't matter what it is, just reach out. Like, we're really approachable people. we're
not going to judge it. You could say whatever. You could ask a question you may think is silly or like doesn't really matter or whatever. We are the least judgmental people you will ever meet. And so just reach out.
And if you want us to do videos on certain topics, send us those messages as well or comment them here. And we not only post these on both of our Facebook pages, but also on Mitch's YouTube page. We have a whole playlist dedicated to all the videos that we're doing. Every week we go live with these, and we look forward to doing many more. So thank you guys
thanks for watching.
Tuning in.
We'll throw some links in the comments, and stay tuned for more. Bye, everyone.